Hello, and welcome to our very first On Point reviews. I am CMoney, and I am joined by the always lovely Doodle.
What's up, everybody? Thank you so very much for rocking out with us today.
Thank you so much indeed. Now, we have the absolute pleasure of going ahead and reviewing Duck Paradox. Now, this game is currently early access on Steam. It is currently available to be purchased for $14.99. There is a free demo that is available, so I do suggest you checking that out. The game is being developed by Magic Games, and it is being published by our friends over at Midwest Games. We actually got a chance to go ahead and visit them on their booth at PAX East 2024, and we had a great time, right, Doodle?
Absolutely. It was a phenomenal time. And it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. We got to try out a few games that they are going to be publishing, and Duck Paradox is one of those games. And thankfully, they were kind enough to go ahead and include us in reviewing the game. So they went ahead and they sent us this code for us to go ahead and give the game a shot here at home, where we could play it in our own peaceful space and really take the time to dive into it. So we do thank you guys over at Midwest. Much appreciated. That being said, gotta tell you, the game is good. I'm gonna spoil it right
Freaking
there. I'm gonna
amazing,
spoil it
guys.
right there. The game is really, really good. I do want to go ahead and talk about the story very quickly, just because this game is not like this type of game is not about the story, right? Like the story serves as the reason why you're doing what you're doing. But it's all about the fun and the challenge and everything that you have going on. So I actually want to go ahead and just read the premise that they set out for us in the game. So I'm going to go ahead and put here. It says, enter the paradox, navigate the infinite domains of the multiverse as savvy scientist Dr. Paradox in search of her pet duck, lost in the throes of space-time thanks to a malfunctioning time machine. Trapped in a world of endless possibilities, Dr. Paradox continues to battle corrupted versions of her beloved pet, despite the unrelenting reality and her declining sanity. But who knows what is real anymore? For her, there is no choice but to keep fighting, tackle difficult to master trials, run after run with the utmost quickness to earn powerful upgrades, save all of the ducks, and grasp the tattered threads of reality.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
It is. It
That's
is. I
beautiful.
feel like they gave us enough to get in there. And once you're in there, you are consumed because now
Facts.
Quack has become your pet. And somehow, within about 3 minutes of gameplay, you love this duck.
You
You
do.
need to save him.
All right, now as far as the actual story is concerned, it serves its purpose, gives us the reason we need to keep playing. But what we're really here for is the gameplay, guys, and the gameplay does not disappoint. Now, what you're looking at on the screen right now is my actual recording of getting beaten over and over again.
But you came back, see.
But I did come back, and that's the thing, right? At the end of the day, right? Duck Paradox, very tough game. Like let's just call it as it is right now. Super hard, not for the faint at heart. But that being said, it's honestly is a good kind of tough, right? Like I'm not usually one of those people who sits there and wants to like test my patience and die again to get better. But there's something about this game that's just, it's just different, right? Like it never feels unfair or like it's cheating or anything like that.
No,
like
you always feel like you should have done better or you could
Yes.
do better. So this game, it just keeps you on your toes. And
It does.
every run is different. Just when you think you have a level locked down, these corrupted ducks, they find a way to
Yep.
outsmart you.
Absolutely.
Somehow.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because the game, as hard as the game is, it's almost, as you're continuously playing it, it's really like the game is your coach. You know, it's kind of pushing you every time to just do better because it doesn't cheat you in any way. And honestly, I just love that. Now, one of the things I will say about the game is that I would love to see in a future update or you know, I mean, maybe I would like to hear their explanation of it. But one of the things that I feel like is difficult for me is that the game itself being so difficult already. One of the things that I found is as you got into a little bit of later of the maps, um, you can't see where the duck is right away, right? So because you can't see where the duck is right away, on top of the challenge of just surviving and playing the game, you have the challenge of finding the duck,
Yes.
which I don't know. I think the game is pretty hard itself. So having to find a duck is a pain in the butt. Obviously, it's the first time through that round that you have to do that, because then once you see that round later on, you already know where the duck is. Maybe the first time introduce the duck to you, you know, like where the duck is and where to find it. I mean, I don't know. Is that me just being a little a little, a little whiner, Doodle?
Listen, that's possible because it is also part of the challenge and kind of what the excitement to go and figure out where this duck is, right? Where Quack is. And I think that the bigger thing is that as you're playing, somehow inside you feel like this do or die situation, because as you continue to go to the next level and the next level, not being able to make it through and having those three little hearts wear out, you know, it's just devastating.
Absolutely.
And not devastating enough to say, I'm going to walk off, right? It's devastating enough to make you shout a couple of, you know,
Ducking words.
ducking words, right? And then you cannot get back into this game fast enough to go ahead and give it another try.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the thing. You have to give it another try if you want to move forward, because again, the difficulty here is that when you die, you're starting over. Doesn't matter how far you got, you got to start all the way back. So again, if the game wasn't good and if the game did not go ahead and push you, then you wouldn't want to come back. But the way that this game is made, it just does it in such a way.
It's rewarding. It's exciting when you do get to you know,
Agreed.
take out these ducks, right? These corrupted, vicious ducks.
Yeah, you're definitely pumped once you do it, right? Like as soon as you finally get there and you finally kill them, it's like, yes. Like right now, you look on the street, this is one of the bosses that they had. Now, this run is my successful run, but I got here like 4,000 times and did not, maybe not that drastically, but I got there a few times and he kicked my ass every time. This time I figured out a way to get in front of him instead of behind him, and now I was able to defeat him. But that's the type of challenge it is, right? Where you got to kind of figure out like, what am I doing to actually overcome this challenge? And I gotta tell you, it really was a fun time.
And
sure.
you know what they did beautifully? They were able to have you sympathize with Quack, right? You go ahead, you love him, you want to save him. And it's very clear how vicious these corrupted ducks are because you want absolutely nothing to do with them. Now, if you were to go to a park and, you know, there's a little pond over there and you see the ducks, you won't know when they quack around if they're vicious, corrupted ducks and they're mocking you, or if that's your sweet little Quack looking back at you, right?
Absolutely.
It will have that kind of it will leave you with that kind of mental situation out in the outside world, right?
Facts. You never look at the duck the same way.
No.
After this game, I could tell you that much. You know, the other cool thing is that the random levels, so they have a bunch of variations that you go through and they come randomly. So like, meaning, you know, your second level of this run might be your fifth level of the next run, and vice versa. You could it all swipes switches around. But it's dope. It really feels like you're feeling like you're playing a new like having a new experience every single time you start it up.
Absolutely. It doesn't get old. Every time you go in there, they find a way to go ahead and mix it up. And you're like, oh, I haven't seen this board, right? And then when you have seen one and you've played it a few times, you think you've got it locked down. And when you don't, right, and they get you, you're like, oh man, I should have had this. This should have been simple. I've played this board plenty of times, but every time you experience this game and every time you go back in, it's a brand new experience.
Absolutely. Not to mention, that's just the actual variation in the levels and how they give them to you. But as you've been watching on the screen, you keep seeing that there are different perks that you get from the game.
Yes.
After you complete every round, you go ahead and you can pick a perk, and they're randomly drawn there for you to choose from. And you'll either have seen it before in the past, so you can choose, you'll know which one you're choosing. And if you've already chosen it once during your run, you can stack the perk. Or it'll be one you haven't seen yet, and it'll be a random perk, and you know it just keeps it engaging and new, right? It feels new every time.
It does, but you're using that word perks a little freely, right? Because the thing is that if you choose the wrong perk, it may not be such a perk, right? Like I chose this one time faster bullets, but as you can see from the gameplay, the bullets bounce back until it hits something, one of these corrupted ducks per se, right? And if it doesn't, it just keeps bouncing back and forth and the bullet can get you. So the faster you shoot a bullet and the faster it moves, the faster it can come back to get you. So there are those, every choice has a consequence type of situation throughout the game.
Agreed. And I could tell you from experience, when you do put yourself in that situation where you have that combination of perks that sounded better on paper until you got them, it can be a crazy nightmare. You can have super fast bullets that are huge and that that they double up. So
Yes.
you miss a couple shots and it's over, right? Like that, it becomes crazy. Now that is also part of the risk reward that we spoke about earlier when you go and find those eggs, right? Because when you find the extra eggs, it actually gives you the ability to get an extra perk. So when you finish the round, if you found the extra egg, you would open up the random perk for beating the board, and then the other perk you get to choose because you found the extra egg. So you can stack really quickly and have some crazy situations that work out in your benefit if you choose the right perk. I started choosing perks like slow down. The slowdown lasts longer. The slowdown is slower.
Slow motion, yes.
Yeah, the energy you have. I started choosing that a lot to be able to do more slow mo, which becomes a lifesaver in a lot of situations. I could tell you that much. I think some of the gameplay that I recorded here was showed some of that, but so much more gameplay that I did that wasn't recorded that it just became like a lifesaver for me. I became really reliant on it to kind of get deeper into the world, into the different maps and stuff, different rounds. It's really, I mean, I don't know. It's engaging to me. Like I
It's
really get excited
absolutely
playing it.
engaging. And as you can see from the gameplay, CMoney did not necessarily go after those eggs that give you the extra perks as much as I did while I was playing. There is a do or die type of situation, type of feeling. It is that drastic while you're in the middle of playing where you have to make a choice. Do I go and try to get that perk and try to save that egg? Or do I go ahead and make it a safety with Quack? And it's such there's a simplicity to this game that it's hard to comprehend until you're playing how much of a decision that is while you're playing the game.
Absolutely. Agreed 100%. And I think overall, when it comes to, how it feels to play and the challenges that you have to face doing it, I think they nailed it.
They did. And
I think they nailed it.
those little hidden secrets or the eggs, they're kind of like they're in plain sight when you kind of really think about it, right? And it kind of reminds you of those old school games, those classic games.
Yeah.
Um, it's pretty dope.
So look at the art style, to be honest with you,
Absolutely.
I mean, as far as like the art style is concerned, I feel like it has like that perfect balance between retro and modern. Like that they're making a retro game, but you know that a game like this couldn't exist back then,
Yes.
right? Like it's just really that perfect
It has
balance.
that nostalgia, that essence. And I don't know if you recall, I mentioned to you as I'm playing, I'm feeling like that old school Mario Bros, right? It
Yes,
just has
yes.
that essence, that vibe.
Agreed 100%. Yeah, I think they nailed the art style. It's unique. It feels like you're very well aware that this is the game you're playing once you see it. Like when you see it, it's very unique identity that they made with this art style. It's really really nicely done. Um, but I think that they nailed it. Like I love it. And
Absolutely. It's
uh
it's also a testament, like, we were talking about those hidden little areas, and it's kind of like a testament to like your mental block, right? How we mentally block ourselves to not go beyond or push further. Um, and then once you see it, you're like, oh shoot, yeah, I could tell that that was there all along. Right there, where you see those blocks to the left, you can actually climb. It was just there before, but you can actually climb up, and there's another level. So there are different ways to getting around the boards that in the moment you may not see, but then you're like, oh shoot, this is another way of getting to where I need to go, right? Or
Agreed.
another area where I can go and explore and get something else, or um
Get some more
it can
perks.
also become more challenging as you're doing those things. But
Agreed. And then another quick mention, as far as the sound is concerned. Again, I think they nailed it. It had that retro sound, but it the best compliment that I can give to it was that I rarely thought about the sound. Like it never bothered me, it never annoyed me. I love the soundtrack, sounds great. Um, I really had a good time, and all the sound effects were spot on. From the smallest ones when you're just jumping in the little jetpack, does a little sound. Like everything, I think was really real well done with the sound. How do you feel about it?
it was very seamless. So I did love it because, these games are so, they can cause a lot of tension, right? You feel tense. You're there trying to get to your goal, right? And with that, right, as it tests your patience, the music in the background is very relaxing, which is an amazing balance, right? It's there, but it's also not. And when you're aware of it, you're like, oh, this is nice. But as you're playing, you're aware of so little because, again, you're so focused on your goal.
Agreed. All right, let's wrap this up with our final thoughts on the game. I honestly, for me, I would say that it's been an absolute joy to play this game. I really feel like this is not a game that is just something that you play once or twice and you're like, all right, well, I get the idea. If you're into any type of challenge, this is definitely going to be right up your alley. Honestly, if it feels like more of a daily routine for me now. Grab it, play a few minutes here and there whenever I got the time. I don't foresee that changing. And I'm honestly, again, remember, guys, keep in mind, this is an early access game. They're going to be doing more and they're going to be adding more over time. And, they have such a great foundation to build off of. I'm really impressed with it.
Well, what can I say? I was hooked from the start. It's an addictive game. It's a roller coaster ride of emotions. It's a game that will have you shouting in frustration one moment, and then you're cheering in triumph the next. But overall, it's a testament to the power of gaming, where fears can limit you, but overcoming it just leads to richer and more rewarding experience. You just feel like you can do anything, right? When you go ahead and you get to just the next level. That's simple, by the way. Just the next level makes you feel like you've achieved something so special, and it makes you so excited. But yeah, and frustrated when you don't. but it
Agreed.
doesn't keep you from wanting to get back in there and try. And I think that for me, that's what makes this game so special. It reminds me of back then, back in the day, right? When you first started gaming, you're a kid, and that excitement, and that willpower, right? And that I want to try again. I want to do it
Yep.
one more time.
Yep.
Well, this game gives you that all over again. And that is a special feeling that it's very difficult to get, especially with gaming that has changed so much.
Absolutely. Okay, so now it's time for the score. And this is a special one because this is going to be the first official score that OnPoint has ever given a game. This is exciting. So just to explain the way that we're going to do it here on OnPoint, obviously there's two of us who played this game, two of us with our own takes on the game, and we are each going to give it a score, okay? But those will be our own personal scores. What we're going to do is we're going to take both scores and we're going to average them out together, and that will be the official OnPoint review score for the game. Okay, so as far as I am concerned, for Duck Paradox, I enjoyed the game immensely. I loved it, honestly, and I really look forward to seeing what comes next, and really seeing what they do once they hit that 1.0. My score for the game is going to be a 9 out of 10. Doodle, what is your score?
I wanted to get my hands on this game ever since I first played it. I just wanted to play Dog Paradox one more time and one more time and one more time. This game is very special. I'm so happy that we got to play it and experience it. For me personally, this game is a 9.5.
9.5 out of 10. So what that means is we're going to take my 9 and Doodle's 9.5, and the official OnPoint review score for Duck Paradox in early access is a 9.25 out of 10. We're calling that a classic.
Let's go.
Guys, this was our first review that we've ever did. If you liked it, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think in the comments below. We appreciate all of the feedback. Shout out again and big thanks to Midwest Games for going ahead and giving us the code to try out the game and to review it. We had a blast playing the game, and stay tuned. Look forward to more from OnPoint for Gamers.
Absolutely.
When it comes to reviews. We have a few more in the pipeline that we will be talking about soon. And with that, Doodle, we're going to end the show the way we end every single show. Doodle.
Yes.
We're done.
We are.
Until next time.
You're intruding.
You are intruding.